Right. So to-do lists can be helpful. They can also feel rather overwhelming because let's face it, those to-do lists, they never really end. So when we're just running from task to task in our business, it's easy to get stuck in to-do mode, right? Which often will lead us down rabbit holes of these mundane micro tasks, and it steers us away from doing some of the larger, more important tasks, aka the hard stuff, that will actually lead you towards your long term goals in your business. So I want you to repeat after me. It is time to ditch the to do list. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Today, I am going to be sharing a series of tips that I use to prioritize things in my business and actually get the important stuff done. So, we're going to be rethinking our to do list and shifting it into a priority list. So, if you are joining me here live, please be sure to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from today. And if you're watching on the replay, jump in to the conversation because I will be back to chat with you. So we're going to get to these 6 tips in just a moment, but let's strike up a little music first. Okay, welcome back. Hey there, everyone. I see Tegan is here. Phil, I need to message you. And Elizabeth, greetings from Central New York. I see Ella's taking notes. I love it. Ella's joining us over out on the Instagram land. So, hey there, Instagrammers. Okay, I see we have the Voice Within Studios joining over on YouTube. Philip is still out in Nevada. Fabulous. Good stuff. Okay, so let's get to today's topic. Hey there, Susan Stevenson from Ohio. Nice to see you. Okay, so the topic of the day, we're going to be talking about to-do lists. And this is something that you might have seen some content from me, some graphics about to-do lists in the past. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. As someone who struggles to stay focused on the important things in her business because there's a lot of different, moving parts. And I know that when you're running a studio or any type of music online business, or let's just say business in general, when you're running something, especially as a solopreneur, there's lots of different things pulling at your attention. And sometimes at the beginning of the week, when you sit down and you're like, okay, what do I have to get done this week? You try to maybe jot out a giant list, and all of a sudden, like, you've got this 2-page list of these little tasks that need to get done. And there's danger in that, my friends. There's danger in that. I know that personally, I have struggled with to-do lists because once you get that started on writing out that to-do list, it just gets longer and longer and longer. And you know what? I just realized I forgot to introduce myself. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Sara Campbell, and I am a business strategist, mindset, and marketing coach for music studio owners and for online education experts just like you. And I go live here every Wednesday in all of the places at noon Eastern, where we talk about all those topics. So I'm so glad that you've joined me, whether you're live or on the replay. Welcome to the broadcast. If you have a teacher friend or colleague or coworker who could benefit from joining in on this conversation, now's the time to invite them. So let them know that this is going on. Okay, so let's get moving on this, shall we? We're going to be going through a series of 6 steps that I use that really allow me to kind of ditch the to-do list and to make something called a priority list, because we're going to be focused on setting priorities so that we can actually move the needle forward. But before we get to this, I'll say to those who are joining on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications. We have 2 videos that drop every single week on the YouTubes. We have the live broadcast on Wednesdays, and on Fridays, we put out our quick tip videos. This is something new that we started over the past month. So every Friday at noon Eastern, you're going to get a quick video between 3 to 5 minutes with tips that you can use to run your business. So run on over to YouTube and make sure to subscribe there. Okay, let's get started. We love to learn out loud today. So if you find something that is valuable, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or hey, Instagram, give us a hashtag takeaway and tell us what that valuable thing was. It's a great way to have a conversation together, and I can bring your fancy takeaways up onto the screen, which is always exciting. If you would like to get a hold of today's show notes, if you drop the word priority below for those on Facebook, or on Instagram, if you drop the word priority below, then we'll reach out to you via DM so that you can get those notes. For those who are watching on YouTube, you're going to click this link that I just popped into the chat there, or if you are watching on the replay, look in the description below and you'll be able to get a hold of the show notes there. Hey, Shelly Pritt is tuning in from Delaware. I love it. We've got Karen from Lake St. Louis, all the good stuff. Okay, so let's get moving into these tips, shall we? Tip time. Okay, so this is the process that I use. I will say I'm not always good at doing this process every week. Sometimes I struggle with it. So if you guys haven't caught on by now, a lot of my broadcasts are so that I am reinforcing the fact that I need to do stuff. So I hope that you enjoy joining me on this journey. So our first tip today is going to be, whoops, got some cat hair in there, I think. Here we go. Our first tip is to set aside time to plan for the week. Now, as we go through these tips, I want you to keep in mind that everybody works a little bit differently. So if something is useful to you, keep it. If something is not, and you feel a lot of resistance around the tip that I'm sharing, first I want you to examine, where does that resistance come from? And then I want to give you permission to say, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so take what is useful, leave what is not. So the first thing is to set aside a time to plan for the week. Now, for me, I actually like to do this on Sundays. And it doesn't take an extraordinary large amount of time, but it's nice to set aside 15, 20 minutes to sit down with your planner and to think about what's going to be happening in the week ahead. I like to get my phone out, check out my calendar, see what the appointments are that I have. And I'm not just talking about business, I'm talking about life in general, right? So if you've got things that you need to attend or, life stuff that's going on, all of the things, business, life, family, all that stuff. We're taking a look at all of these things. But the most important thing is to actually set aside that time to plan. So maybe it's on a Sunday afternoon. Maybe you like to do stuff on Friday so that you can just release all of that stress and, enjoy your weekend. Whatever day, Monday morning, you find a time each week and set it aside to plan. Make it a ritual so that you know that when you reach that day and that time, that is when you are going to sit down with your planner and spend a little priority time there. Yes, I know, Karen, cat hair everywhere, all the time, everywhere. Okay, so our first step, set aside time to plan. During that time, here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a brain dump and we're going to do a couple of things in this section of planning. So when you're sitting down with your planner, I want you to take a look at your calendar. I want you to look at all the things, and I want you to think about what are the things that need to get done this week. Make a list. Does not have to be in any order, but it needs to be down on paper, right? Because oftentimes we keep that stuff swirling around in our head, and that's not useful because that is a waste of brain space, right? Our brain is not there to store all that stuff and keep you on track. It's there to think about the stuff and put it down on paper. So we're going to make a list of all of the stuff that needs to get done. Alonia's Piano Studio just joined us on Instagram. Nice to see you. If you want to see the fancy stuff that's going across the screen, you can join us on Facebook or on YouTube. Just look up Savvy Music Studio. Okay, once we've made this list, we are going to identify our frogs. So who here is familiar with that phrase? I'd love to know. Have you heard this phrase before? That we need to eat the frog first. Okay, I can't remember the name of the book that this comes from, and I wish that I had looked that up before we started here today. But what we're going to do is we're going to eat the frog first. And sorry, I have to look over to the side here. I'm trying to find this little button. All right, we're going to eat our frog first. So what is the frog? The frogs are the things on your list that are difficult. Ella says, yep, she has the audiobook. I can't remember who it's by. So the frogs are the things that are hard. And once you make that brain dump list, you're going to go through. Susan said that she's familiar with it. Awesome. Okay. You're going to go through that list and you're going to circle the things that are the frogs. These are the items that you may have some resistance around. They're the ones that make you go, oh, that's going to take some time and effort. We're going to identify our frogs. So we have set aside time to actually plan for the week. And we've done a brain dump of all of the things that are swirling around. You know, what are the things that have to happen? Do you have some doctor appointments? Do you need to go to yoga class? Do you need to go grocery shopping? You know, do you have something special that's happening in the studio? Do you have a recital that's coming up? Or is one of your kids going to be in a musical? Write it all down. And then we're going to circle the things that are our frogs. Okay. Oh, thank you. Elizabeth, you are the best. She said Brian Tracy is the author. Okay, perfect. So there you go. So that's step number 2. Let's move on to step number 3. Step number 3 is to set your priority tasks. Those are going to be, most of them, frogs, right? Maybe you don't have a whole bunch of frogs that week, but you do have some tasks inside of that list that will make a big difference if you get them done. And so we're going to set those priority tasks. We're going to think about, okay, what are the things that really actually need to happen this week? One of the things that you may find after you've done that brain dump is that you have a list that's slightly too long. Now, I could go down a rabbit hole here and have a whole nother conversation about eliminating some things on that list. Right? Identifying the things on the list that are low impact tasks that can either just be eliminated completely or handed off to somebody else so that you can spend more time on the high impact tasks. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. That's all I'm going to say about it. So we have set aside time, right? We have done a big brain dump. We've identified our frogs, and then we're going to set our priorities. What are the things that you want to get done this week? So actually, let's share, because, you know, we love to learn out loud here, so I'd love to know some things from you. What are some of the priorities that you have this week? It's Wednesday, so we've still got some time to go. We've still got the opportunity to get some things done. I would love to know, what are some of your top priorities this week? Share them down below and I'll bring them up onto the screen so that we can set some intentions and send them out into the universe and cheer you on as you eat those frogs. So I'll share one of my priorities while you all are typing yours up. One of the big priorities this week for Savvy Music Studio is that we are about to launch a new ebook, and I am exploring the tech stack that's going on behind the scenes. So one of my big priorities is to test out the tech stack to see, is everything going to work together because I've got WP Forms, I've got Stripe, I've got MailChimp, and all of those things need to be able to communicate. So one of my top priorities that is actually going to take me quite a bit of time is testing out the system and making sure that everything runs smoothly. So I'm going to be running some tests. I'm going to be making sure that everything is ready to go so that when I meet with our team next Monday, we can take the next step. Whew, it felt really good to say that out loud because now that I've said it out loud, I feel like I'm more likely to do it. So please hold me accountable. Tell me, Sarah, it is time for you to test out that stuff so that we can get a hold of your amazing ebook. All right, I see some great priorities. Let's take a look at them. I love that you all are sharing these. Tegan is going to be changing the copy on her website. Awesome. Norma is doing taxes. I love it, Norma. Carrie is figuring out the fall schedule. I love it. That's fantastic. Philip is going to be entering all his students into his new system over at Fonz. Yay, Philip, that's fantastic. That's a perfect system for you. Elizabeth is going to make Canva to Meta Business Suite work, and she's also making sure that new lesson payments also work as well. Exciting. Dawn is going to be organizing her documents. And Karen is going to, Karen has already completed her high priority tasks. Yes. And lots of love to you and your husband as he goes into surgery on Fridays. Let's send some love to Karen right now. So if you want to hit those hearts and everything, let's send some love her way. Let's see. Susan Stevenson says that she's finishing up a sales page for a new online Suzuki pre-Twinkle class that she's starting. If you guys haven't seen Susan's stuff, it's the cutest thing ever. The Twinkle class. Oh my gosh, so cool. Shelly says she's getting ready for getting recital pieces selections together for next week. I can't talk today. And competition project stuff is getting ready. Tegan, Fonz is a scheduling and invoicing system. And it's used by not just music teachers, it's used by a lot of different things. It's pretty cool. Christine is figuring out her summer schedule so she can determine what kind of offerings she's going to create. Thank you all for sharing all of those things. I love it. I see that Ella over on Instagram is going to be working on nurture emails for her program. And oh yeah, taxes. Whew. All right, fantastic. We have reached step 3. We've got 3 more to go. Let's keep buzzing. Y'all ready? Next step. We are going to assign our priorities to days and times. So once you have identified the priorities of the week, hey, Lauren DeGeorgie, nice to see you. I can hit the little wave thing. I don't know what that does, but we're just going to find out. Okay, you're going to assign these priorities to days and times. So we've made our big list. We've identified the frogs and the priorities, and then we're going to actually assign them to days and times. Now, I literally mean assigning it to a day and time, not just saying, oh, okay, I'm going to do this on Wednesday. No, literally saying, okay, I am going to do this on Wednesday at 11 a.m. and block it out in your calendar. This is so important because we can make those to-do lists, right? And I mentioned the danger of the to-do list is that we start checking. One of the things that we start doing is that we start picking the easiest things on the to-do list and we just get those things done. And then we fall down this rabbit hole of all these mundane tasks that don't necessarily move your business forward, but it feels good because we're doing them and we get to check things off the list. Thus is the danger of the to-do list, at least for me. Does anybody else feel that way? If you just have a to-do list, you're going to look at that list and you're like, oh, there's a little task that's just going to take me 2 minutes. I'm going to do that. All right. Oh, I've done that. Check. That feels good. Oh, I need another hit of dopamine. Let me go pick another easy thing off of my to-do list and I'm going to go do that. And then all of a sudden 3 hours have passed and you've done all these tiny mundane tasks and that big frog that you were supposed to eat that day has hopped out. I hope that I'm not the only person that feels that way. Okay, so after you've assigned all of your priorities to days and times, then we're going to move on to the next step. I see Tegan's raising her hand saying, it me. Yeah, it me too. All right, next step. Decide when you want to eat the frogs. This is important. So I wanted to include this particular step because according to the book that we were referring to earlier, Eat the Frog First, a lot of people who are business-oriented coaches and things like that will encourage you to do the hard thing first. For some people, that will work really well. For me, that works really well. If I identify the big frog and I'm going to put that at the first portion of my day, mainly because I tend to have more energy at the beginning of the day, and that's when I'm going to feel like I have the brain power and will to do that thing. However, not everybody's like that. So I want you to kind of check in with yourself and think about, when is it that I feel my freshest, that I feel my most powerful, that when I do stuff at this time of day, I actually get stuff done. So when, for some people, that's going to be first thing in the morning. For other people, it's going to be afternoon. And there are, our late night owls that's when the magic happens, and that's when they feel the most focused. So for you get to decide when you want to eat that frog. What time of day is that going to occur? All right. So I'd love to know from those who are watching live or on the replay, when is it that you are at your most powerful? What time of day is it when you're like, you know what, this is like the magic hour for me, or magic section, hopefully it's more than 1 hour. This is the time when I get my most important work done. And I want you to share that with us here in the comments. Yes, I see Karen saying it's like our students, they practice the easy parts and never or rarely practice the hard parts. I have to set a priority. I need to get some frog stickers to put in their music. I love it. Christine says she's been breaking down her to-do list into sections. I love that. And it's really helped you get things done rather than a big list. I love that tip, Christine. I think that's fabulous because we need to find the way that our brains work the best, and we need to follow that path. I love it. See, Karen says that for her, her magic time is late night. Tegan says after lunch, right? So okay, here we go. Danette, nice to see you. Welcome. Says from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. is like her magic time. That's fabulous. So identify that magic time, and that's where the frog is going to go. That's when you're going to eat the frog. All right. Final step here. Let's see. Oh, wait, we'll bring up one more. Elizabeth said she eats her frogs during power hour co-working sessions. I love that. Yeah. Oh, the power of co-working, right? Does anybody else out there do co-working? Co-working can be magical. It's so nice to have somebody with you so that you can get stuff done. Susan says she has to be her best for the studio and blog from 6 to 10 a.m. because she currently works at a day job. Makes sense, right? We need things that are going to fit our schedule. Moving on, finally, here's our last step. Our last step, oops. And this is really important. I almost put this first, but I wanted to get the business stuff done. Now I'm going to throw a wrench into the process. Y'all ready? Whoops, not that one. Please, 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 when you're going through this process, I want you to build in time for rest and time for play. Time for thinking, time for ideating. This is extremely important, especially for creatives. And it can feel like, oh, this is a waste. No, it's not a waste. In fact, when you sit down at the beginning of your week or end of your week, whenever you're choosing to plan, I want you to do this stuff first. Build in the time for rest and play, and let everything else get built around it so that you have the space to dream, that you have the space to heal yourself, that you have the space to be a human being and not just somebody who's working hard. I know that for me personally, somebody who is quite driven, having achiever as my number one Clifton strength, this is something that I have to remind myself to do all the time. All the time. So please, let's all together build in time for rest and play. If you are going to commit to building in time for rest and play, I want you to say it out loud here. Let us know that you're going to commit to rest and play. I see that the piano instructor said she wrote, or I'm sorry, I said she, they, I'm not sure, wrote curriculum specifically for music teachers on this very subject. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so for those who have joined in a little bit late today, we are going to do a rapid recap of all of the steps. So let's do this recap. Y'all ready for the recap? If you've enjoyed the things that have happened in this broadcast, I want you to take a little moment here to give me some hearts, give me some thumbs, and let me know if you have enjoyed this topic. And we're going to get to it. All right. I see lovely. Tegan says, I'm going to clock out every day at 7. Susan says she has learned to rest. Dawn is going to commit to rest and play. So is Elizabeth. And Phil just made this week, remade a schedule so that he could have 2 days in a row where you don't have any students. That's fantastic. Thank you, Susan. Okay, let's get to the recap. To-do lists can be fabulous. They can also be overwhelming because as a small business owner, you know that once you start making that to-do list, it kind of never ends. And once we get that to-do list, we have a tendency to go for the easy stuff, these little mundane tasks that lead us down this rabbit hole of completing lots of little things that we can check off. And before you know it, 3 hours have passed and you have not done the important priority task that you set for yourself. So what we are doing here is we are ditching the to-do list and we're creating a priority list. And here are the 6 steps that go into that. Step number 1, set a time to plan for the week. Doesn't matter what day makes sense to you, whether it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. You pick a day each week and set aside a time when you're going to have a little date with your planner. So once you've done that, during that date with your planner, you're going to make a list here, brain dump all of the things that need to happen over the coming week, not just business items, but things with your family, things with yourself, all of the things in one place, dump it all out. And then we're going to identify the frogs. What are the big tasks that you might want to avoid, but will also move your business forward in a very productive way? Then we are going to set those priorities. We're going to look at those frogs and we're going to say, yep, we are going to eat those frogs this week. So you're going to set the priorities by choosing the tasks that are the most important to you. Now, this again does not have to be all business related. Maybe your priority is, hey, I have to make it to that exercise class twice a week. Or, hey, I need to go to bed earlier. Set the priority tasks. Once we do that, we are going to assign those tasks to days and times. And when I say assign, I literally mean block out time on your calendar. So decide this is going to happen on Tuesday at 10 a.m. or this is going to happen on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Whatever you need to do, block out time on your calendar. And remember, you may want to block off more time than you think because we always underestimate how much time something is going to take. So block off the time. Next, we're going to decide when you want to eat the frogs. So the big things, right? You need to know what time of day am I at my freshest? When can I have the most brain power and the most willpower to eat that frog and get that task done? So if that's in the morning, great. Afternoon, great. Evening, you pick the time when you're going to work the best. And finally, the last step here is to build in time for rest and play. Because all work and no play makes a dull piano teacher. And I want you to have more play in your life. So make the commitment to building those things in first so that you can have the time to be creative and the time to be a human being who takes care of themselves. All right, so that is it for today. If you would like to get a hold of the show notes from this, if you drop the word priority below, you'll be able to get a hold of that from the Savvy Sara bot, whether you are on Facebook or Instagram. And for those who are watching on YouTube, look in the chat here and also in the description, and that is where you can find the show notes from today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, oh, yay, I see Susan says thank you. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please take a moment to give this video a little heart, a little thumbs up. For those who are on the YouTubes, don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications, and you'll get notified the next time our videos drop. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate that you took time out of your day to spend a little time with me and learn out loud. And I look forward to jumping into this conversation on the replay. So if you had any questions about anything, please be sure to pop those down below and I will be back to have a chat with you. All right, everybody, I will be back next week. In the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher, and there is no one in the world quite like you. And I think that you're pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everyone. We will see you next week.